Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bit thin on the ground again tonight. To receive and accept apologies for absence. Have we got Jane?
Just Keith Gilbert.
We've got that again.
Sorry.
To receive and accept apologies for absence.
Just Keith Gilbert.
So I know broadcasters can deal with that in their ear, but that throws me completely. Point 2, to note declaration of members' personal, prejudicial and disclosable pecuniary interests in respect of any items on the agenda. Catherine?
In respect of item 9, which refers to the museum project, as I'm a trustee on Museum for One.
Thank you. Nobody else? Okay. 3 minutes. 3.1, to confirm that the minutes of the meeting held on October the 26th, 2021 are a true and accurate record. Everyone read them? You wasn't here, okay. Yes, Catherine?
I'm referring to item 7.2, which is about the purchase of the radiators, which we agreed. I did point out at the time that those were within the £25,000 that we'd already agreed for the museum project, and asked that to be minuted. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. 3.2, to receive reports on items from the last minutes not already on the agenda. That'll all be in your application pack.
Okay, I've got 1 or 2 things just to update, Jane, if that's okay.
Yep.
Alan Wright is willing to attend a virtual meeting on November the 24th at 2 o'clock, so that's one for your diaries. And the other is regarding the chairman of Breckland Council attending a meeting. His PA is still trying to fix a date. The issue is that he does need to attend meetings in London on Wednesdays moving forward. I thought it's Wednesday, so he can't be here Tuesday. He's going down to London Tuesday night for the meeting on the Wednesday. She is looking at whether he can still come to this meeting and catch a train and get down to London for the next morning. So I've not heard any more. She was just going to see if she could do anything.
Yes, Pat.
Sorry, Alan Wright, he's a guy from Norse, contractor, who before COVID was willing to sort of suggest some ideas for revamping the area around the town sign, not replacing the sign, just looking at the plinth, because that's getting as though it needs some work. And at the time he was suggesting we could perhaps put a flagpole there. So he's willing just to come and speak to us and give us a few ideas. 24th at 2 o'clock, I'll send a link out nearer the time.
Thank you. Anyone got other questions? No? Okay. Point 4, to agree co-option to fill the 1 casual vacancy on the town council. We only have 1 application, and on that basis, we are required to co-opt as soon as practical. So I propose that we do accept that casual vacancy. Everyone happy? That's approved.
The lady is Charlotte Greeno. She did say she would have liked to have been here tonight, but she has got, I think, child sort of, not issues, but I think she needed someone to possibly look after the children, so she couldn't be here tonight. Hopefully we'll see her at the next meeting.
Thank you, Jane. So we come number 5 to reports. 5.1 Chairman's report. On Saturday evening, 30th of October, I attended the fireworks event. Did a couple of hours on the stall with the glow sticks and a bit of litter picking. I'm amazed at how hard you work, Beryl. And you and Keith, you went mad. On Sunday night, 31st of October, I attended a dinner dance celebrating 100 years of the Royal British Legion at Barn Rouge. That was a very enjoyable evening, and I thank the RBL for their kind invitation. On Monday morning, 1st of November, I attended a meeting with the manager of the factory shop with Jane the clerk to discuss issues relating to the Christmas lights. On Tuesday afternoon, I chaired the Noble Plan meeting in the council offices, and there'll be update on that later on. Later in the day, I attended a meeting to discuss the final plans for the members' week in the town council offices. You go on to the vice chair.
Yeah, I've got nothing to report.
And clerk's report.
We've already had what is in the pack. I think one thing we did say, if it's okay with everybody, we would ask a representative from the Air Cadets to attend the next meeting, just to see if anybody wants to pick up and sort of be a rep for their group. So that's that one. I've also had an email from Bennett, who actually saying they would be willing to hand over the officers' mess land by the end of the year. But the message was to Brecon Council saying, can the solicitors get a move on with that? So that's sort of where we stand with that one. Sports Centre also got in touch just to clarify that I think they'd heard that there was a query about their financial position that was raised at the meeting last time possibly. And they've said to avoid any future confusion, please could we forward to the council the following information? And that is really that they're trying very hard to build on their current success, and that they have settled all of their aged debts and currently trading with a surplus. Watton Hockey Club is currently fundraising and has a number of events planned in the next 12 months to raise both awareness and funds towards the cost of resurfacing of the AstroTurf.
That's useful. Thank you. Yes, certainly. I feel it was. I think we've achieved everything we needed to achieve.
Joan, do you want to mention Roy Brain meeting on Friday?
Well, as it may be of interest to you that we are meeting, all the mayors of the Market Towns are meeting with Roy Brain here on Friday. I'm not quite sure what it's about, but always got an idea of something he wants to do. So we're all just meeting up to discuss it. I've got no idea what it's going to be, but I'll feed back to you when I find out what it is. Yes, Tina.
I think for clarification, it is to do with he's setting up events in all the market towns. He's the chairman of Brecon Council this year, and he's setting up events for all the different ones. Durham have had theirs, so he'll be looking now at doing one in Watton, Swaffham and Attleborough, Deptford. So that's probably what that is, and it will be to get all the towns together.
Thank you. So we go on. Sorry. Beryl.
I don't know if this is an appropriate time to ask while you're talking about events, but we're very, very close to the festive market. So if councillors could bring anything in they have for a tombola stall, drink, presents that you don't want, anything towards the tombola, would be very, very grateful if you could bring them in the next week to 10 days. Thank you.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to bring round to you. Pat's also we've got some lavender bags to sort out. I've also got the bags for the bins for you.
Yeah, because that's quite alarming how close it's getting.
Yeah, and I've dropped those off around your house.
Thanks.
Catherine? Catherine?
Can I ask Jane about the item on the clerk's report about the Brecon District Council enforcement? I've read what you said, but I'm not entirely sure of the meaning of it.
No, neither am I at the moment. I mean, Jane came back and picked up on some issues with it. I've gone back and asked for some clarification. I've had another response, which I'm not understanding, and I'll run it by Jane again, and we will follow that up.
There seems to be an issue relating to how they accept complaints from people. The key problem seems to be that we've got one instruction saying that they can only be done online. And then the next instruction says that they don't have to be only done online, but they're encouraging people to do it online. And that I have a problem with. So that is basically what that's it's about. So we're trying to clarify which is it. Yes, Tina.
They are encouraging anything to go through online, so they've got a record of it, and I've done it myself when I've reported anything online. They have a report it function, which is what they're trying to get everybody to encourage, even if it's a bin, a miss bin, anything like that, because they then have a record of what is being slacked and missed, and any planning things that they can then have a designated officer put to these things.
Yeah, I
So
know how
if you put
I
in
know
a
how
lump-
it works.
But
My
that's,
concern is that it does rather exclude members of the public if they can't actually put things online.
no, but then if they write them in, they can do it that way, and then they will put them online. So that, and then there's a
Yes, but
record
that's
and a
not what
case number.
that's not what they're telling us. That's the problem, which is why we've asked for clarification. One email said complaints will only be accepted online. Another email said that people can do them offline. So we're asking for the clarification for that.
It might be an idea that we can get people to bring them in. If it has to be done online, then to come into the town council, and then we
Well, that
can
would
put them online.
have implications for staff's working practices. So we might. It is a
Right.
third hand, so that might be an issue. So. So 6, to receive what neighbourhood plan update. Now, there's a couple of issues on this. We did submit the plan to Susan Heinrich for informal comments, which is the normal procedure to go through. It came back with quite a lot of comments, some of which surprised us because they related to our community actions, which really aren't something for Breckland to decide. We're going through them all now, looking at anything that does show that it might be worth changing, taking on board what we think. But in the main, the biggest problem we've got is in a couple of occasions, she said that we should turn them into policies. And we are not happy with turning them into policies. The reason we put them as community actions was because our advice from our planner was that that would then challenge one of their policies, which means it would be struck out in the final analysis. So we then did them as community actions. There is a criticism that we have too many community actions and not enough policies. But my answer to that is that we did actually, on day one, decide that the neighbourhood plan was also part of consultation of the general public. It wasn't just to be a bare bones policy plan. It was to find out what the public wanted. So everyone was quite strong that that meant to be in the plan, and we don't want to lose it. So we're just going through that now to make sure that we're completely finished, and then that will be presented to you for approval, and then it can start the consultation process. We've given you an outline of the consultation process that we're starting, but we did have a request from Tiffany, who does the hatch and the meat people, and I'm not quite sure why they need it now, because their consultations go on till March, but I suspect it's their timeline, how they're working. And I think they've all got to come up with the vision for each town now. So I don't want to hold them up. I want to facilitate what they're doing, but I don't want to release the vision for the town without your approval. So what we're asking for tonight is for you to sign off that approval of just the vision, so we can send that to Hatch, so it doesn't hold up whatever they're doing. So if that's okay. Yes, Tina.
Got a few issues with this regarding the comments and such like on the actual neighbourhood plan. And a lot of them have come about because there hasn't been any engagement with Susan Heinrich from the beginning. Had there been the engagement with Breckland on this, we may not be where we are with the amount of comments. And the fact of the community actions, as you're saying, there are so many that are ambiguous and not sitting within the local plan framework, which they need to do, which is why working with Breckland on this, and Susan Heinrich, who I hasten to add is completely free of charge, with her team of neighbourhood planners that have been doing all the neighbourhood plans within Breckland, would have saved us a lot of money and maybe not have delayed it this far. And this is very varied in its information here. And I'm not happy with this being what is sent to Hatch, because it's not actually sitting within the local plan. It's not reflective. There is no clear guidance as to what one actually wants. and there has not been the community engagement enough. And it can't go out to community engagement yet anyway, because it's not to that point. But had it been with Susan, who we had a meeting right at the beginning, back in 2017, 16, and she said she would be with us every step of the way. And she has told me that she offered to come to your next meeting to discuss these points, and the working group refused. I'd like to know why.
Perhaps you'd like to answer that one, Catherine.
No, I'll leave that to you, but the point I was going to make is I hear what Tina's saying, how unfortunate it is that our consultant, who have been advising us for the past God knows how many years, didn't advise us in that direction.
Well, my recollection of the fact is that earlier on in the process, we did request Susan Heinrich to come to a number of meetings, and I think 5 or 6 that I recall. She didn't attend any of them. That is my memory of the circumstances. Now, what you're looking at there is not what I'm asking you to give to Hatch. That is the consultation procedure. That's not the neighbourhood plan.
That's the other point that I want to make. Why have we as town councillors never seen any of the neighbourhood plan?
Any councillor could have attended any of the meetings and seen it at any
No,
time.
but why can it not be in the office for us as town
It is.
councillors to come in and look?
It is.
It's not advertised as such.
Well, I didn't realise I had to advertise what's available in the office, but it's been there all this time. Yes.
I think if you go on the council site, there are several of the neighbourhood plan documents actually on the Watton Town Council site.
Yes, I mean, the thing is that my main worry is putting out in the public domain before councillors have actually had an opportunity to look at it. And I can't send a copy of the plan to Hatch or to anybody else until town councillors have actually approved it. And that's my concern. What I'm asking to send to Hatch is just a vision statement, that's all. Because that's all they said, came back and said, could we just give them a few lines of a vision statement as to what it's going to contain? And that's the consultation document. Vision statement was sent to you by email. Yeah, that is all I'm asking to go to them. That document there is to tell you the timing of the process.
That we should really be talking more with Breckland and working together, and this will stop it being delayed.
Well, it won't be delayed. It's just, we're just going through the paperwork now. The key thing is that Breckland are not involved in the community actions. Breckland are only involved in the policy side to it. So the policy side is what our consultant Ian is now looking at and checking our policies against what Susan has said. There are some of them there that he thinks that we still have the evidence to defend, and he still wants to go ahead with them. He will bring those to us and we'll go through them. But the community actions are not for Breckland to decide. They are our community actions.
But they're not actual action, they're not a wish list for what one wants. That's my concern with it. When you read through it, it talks about open space and how we have to maintain our open space. We haven't actually got open space. This is one of the problems we have in this town. We need to have some clear, definitive wish list ideas that would sit within Hatch's dreams, and we all were at that meeting when we had the things. If they could sit within that, the evidence would then be there for us to go for the funding. The neighbourhood plan would support the Hatch findings and plan that they have. We would then be in a good, strong position to get central government funding for these dreams. But as it is standing at the moment, there is no clear, definitive wish list, if you like, a Christmas list. It is a very ambiguous and very varied, you know, and I don't doubt the amount of work that's gone into it, and I applaud everyone who's put in the time and effort to this neighbourhood plan, because I, for one, as you know, didn't want to go ahead with it in the first place because it's incredibly complex. But we are where we are, and I just think now to get it over the line, it would be good to work with Susan, and whether our previous consultant, and I thought he did advocate going to Susan, Susan, you've got to remember, is one person in a 500 square mile radius of parishes and town councils. So she can't chase you, we've got to chase her. And it's, you know, she's there if we want her.
Yeah, I
And
hear what you're
that's-
saying, but we did ask her to come to meetings and she didn't come.
Well, that's not what she said to me.
Well, unfortunately, you know, we had the emails that we did send her. Now, I thought you said you hadn't been able to read it.
I
No,
haven't
Barbara.
read the whole plan, no.
So how have you seen it then?
I've seen this and a
That's not
few
the plan.
comments come back on the plan. That's all I've seen.
You've seen the comments on the plan.
On comments of some of the plan, yes.
In what capacity?
Just the general comments that, not all of them that you've got, but some of them that needed to be raised. And the main one was lack of engagement.
I'm a little confused.
Well, I think that was mentioned. She has said to me that she mentioned it to you, the lack of engagement with the local authority and the local planning authority. And without the engagement with the local planning authority, how can we formulate a plan that's going to get over the line without difficulty?
I'm still very confused. I'm not quite sure where you're coming from here. I've already explained to you that we did ask her to come to meetings and she didn't come.
Right, fair enough. Then all I'm asking is if the group could possibly get her to come at the next meeting to discuss with the group the
Well,
concerns.
would you come to that meeting so you could talk to her?
If I can, yes.
Then that might help.
Okay, yeah, I'll put it in my diary. If you can let me know when the next meetings are, I will come.
But my advice from my planner and to the neighbourhood plan was that there's nothing to be achieved at this stage. It's just going to delay it even more. And the policies will not change. The policies are there as they are. She is not here to alter our community actions. That's not her job. So I'm a little bit confused as what you want us to do. You want us to stop the plan and rewrite it
No,
now?
I'm not a planner, so I'm not involved in this situation. I'm just passing the message back and I want to know why. That's all. My question is, why would you not take free advice when the advice from the consultant is costing this town council a lot of money? And I'd also like to know how much we've actually spent getting it this far. And these are the sort of things as town councillors, we should know how much this is costing and where we're at with the spend.
Yes, I totally agree with you. That is all public documented. That's not a problem. I ain't got a problem with that. But what I do struggle with on the neighbourhood plan is that we did ask her to come to meetings and she didn't come. You're making it sound like we refused to engage and it's not the case. That is not fair.
Telling you what I've been told.
Yes, and I'm
Now,
telling you
Fair enough.
something
This-
else.
This isn't an argument. We're not here to have and go over the same sentence over and over again. Well, I'm asking the town council, the group, to engage with Susan Hyman, who is offering free advice and would help the group get over the line. It's free advice, and why would we not?
Because I'm a bit confused as to what it is you think. She's got most of her comments relate to the community actions. The community actions are not something that Brecon will be looking at. So she wants us to change our community actions and she wants us to put some of them into policies. Now, Brecon cannot ask us to do that. So I don't know what is to be gained by meeting her. I'll obviously consider it and I'll put it to the group and discuss it with the advisor, but I'm not sure at this stage what she's going to give us.
Should it not be down to the town council to help decide this? This is town council's money that's being spent on the neighbourhood plan. So surely we should have an input as to where, all right, you've got your own group, but it seems siloed from the rest of it. I don't feel part of it at all. We get a very short update every now and again. And it's just such a lot of money and we don't seem to be getting very far with it.
Yes, Peter. But it isn't public speaking at the minute. Sorry. Yeah, I know. Could you just wait a moment, please? Peter's got the floor.
I agree with Tina that it has cost money. But we've had a regular report and it's come through on the finances, which we all get a copy of, how much we paid for the for the consultants. Now, you will all remember we had a meeting about changing consultants at one point, and we all agreed we would change the consultant, and we all said how much it would cost, and we all agreed the length of time we'd spent. So in that sense, I don't think we're going to get anywhere with arguing about the cost of a consultant, nowhere at all, because that the town council as a whole, Tina, agreed that. We all agreed that. Some of us might have voted against it, some have voted in favour, but that was the decision that was taken. As for what you are saying, and I haven't been involved in this, if you're telling me that Breckland can have an input into our policies because it's got to match with their policies, I understand that. If you're telling me any community action we want is our decision, has got nothing to do with them, then I can't see what they want to talk to us about, unless, as you say, they want to change all our community actions into policies and therefore they have a say on them. But I would suggest, Chair, in order to be able to move this forward, that when you have your next meeting, you send yet another invitation to it, and you let any other councillor know when it's on. If they want to come along, they can, and we'll take it from there, because otherwise I think we're just going to go round in a circle.
Yeah, with your indulgence, I'll let Claire speak because she may have something to help. Yes, Claire. Well, I can only repeat that I remember at least 5 occasions I have asked her to come to meetings and she has not come. But I can't say more than I've said. I have had 5 invitations for her to come and she's not arrived. So I can't say any else. That's all I can say. Well, council members have just been told where we are with the neighbourhood plan. That's what I've just explained to them. Yes, Catherine?
I'm really getting so bogged down in the mire here because I'm not really sure what Tina and Claire are talking about. We have had comments from Susan. We've looked at them. We will be looking at them further. There's further meeting of the neighbourhood planning group. I believe it will be an item on next time's agenda as well, and we have a timetable to stick to. I'm just think that we're just going round and round in circles now, and I do resent the fact that what the chair is saying here is being questioned. Sorry.
And I have an email here that said, although the working group have decided to not invite me to their meeting on the 16th of November, I have kept this offer open to meet after this meeting.
Yes, I'm fully aware of that offer.
Well, then I would suggest town council working group, neighbourhood plan working group, take it up.
Well, I will move on to that. Can I just sort the first thing out? This is this vision statement for Hatch, which is quite important because it may be holding Hatch's work up. Can I sort that out first and then go on to my next? Somebody might want to make a suggestion. Peter made one earlier on that we could formulate into a policy, into a proposal. But can we release the vision statement to Hatch for them to use as part of their work on the future Breckland? Is everyone happy with that idea? Yes, you're happy for it to go. Thank you. So what are you proposing then, Tina? So we don't have a proposal on the floor.
I'm not proposing that that particular, I don't agree with that vision statement going to Hatch, to be fair, because I think it's too ambiguous and it's not going to sit with any of their ideas. There's nothing in it meaty enough to bolster. They're going to look at that and go, well, what does that mean? It's not definitive enough.
It's a vision
But
statement.
that's my opinion. And clearly, you know, I just want it for the record that I don't agree with that particular vision statement going, but that's my vote. I do not have a proposal other than, if I'm allowed to make a proposal, that the neighbourhood plan working group invite Susan Heinrich at the earliest opportunity to discuss the points face to face.
Yes, Catherine?
Sorry, this was really to do with what was in front of us about what Hatch should receive. Hatch asked for not a detailed plan. They asked for a 2-line summary of the plan and its vision. We're offering them 2 pages.
It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. They want a vision statement. The statement isn't the story.
Well, that is the vision statement.
If you look at within those 2 pages, there's a green strap line. It says vision for Watton. There's 4 extremely short paragraphs under it that sums it up.
Whenever we've taken a vote and everyone seems happy, we've got one objection.
Okay, well, I've still got my proposal on there for.
So what is your
My
proposal is that we
proposal
invite
is
her?
that the neighbourhood plan working group meet with
Okay.
Susan Heinrich at the earliest opportunity to
Right,
discuss
so-
the points raised.
Do we have a seconder? So, okay. Got that? So those vote please, if those approve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we've covered that. Yep, that's that one covered. 6.1 to receive Watton and Sayham Flood Action Group report. You've already had that in your packs. Liz is here. I don't know if anyone's got any questions. No? Okay. 7, public participation. Anyone got anything they want to say? No? 8, to consider a donation to the Wayland Academy Achievement Evening. I think something went out in the back about that, didn't it?
Possibly, yes, I can't remember what went out. I've got down on my notes that £30 was donated in 2019. And I don't think anything happened after.
Yes, Tina.
I suggest we make it a little bit more because everything's gone up so much now, prices, that would it be possible to stretch to £50?
One for
Can't
that
seem to find that
proposal,
on the-
seconded to that. Yes, yep. All okay with that? Yes,
In the minutes, could we note that we're sponsoring, I think they call it sponsoring a prize, don't they?
here we go, on to number 9. To ratify expenditure £3,990 plus VAT to purchase display cabinets as part of the chamber refurbishment. Yes, Catherine?
Just the same, as I said last time, councillors should be aware that this amount of money is actually within the funding that we've already agreed for the joint project. It's within that 25,000.
So do we need a second, or do we need to put that to as proposal?
No, I think we'd like to sort of just make sure it is minuted that that expenditure is taking place. So yeah, as Catherine said, the money is already being allocated.
Is everybody happy with that? 10, to agree any projects for inclusion in the parish partnership scheme.
Again, the 2 sort of quotes we've had went out, I don't think it was in your pack, but since I've heard from the highway engineer, we were looking at either contributing to a trod along the Thetford Road, and we've had prices for that. And we've also had prices to put solar lighting into the bus shelters. So they were the 2 options. The right of way and sort of improvements to that, the highway engineer felt they might happen anyway, and if not, we could perhaps look at them next year.
So are we agreeing that
It's up to council.
to decide which one we want to go for?
Yeah.
So, yes, Peter.
The first thing was, is it an either or? We can't have both.
Put application in for both, I think it will be whether the county accept both
Okay.
proposed.
Well, I rather like to think about the solar lights on the bus shelters because they're, well, they are what they say. They're solar lights, so we haven't got to tap into anything. As long as the roof's clean and we get the lighting on it, I would propose that we look to Norfolk to co-sponsor us on that for 2 lights, one on each bus stop shelter.
Yes, Tina?
I was just going to say, is there a limit on how many things we can ask for? Perhaps Claire might know.
No, I don't think there is, but there's a limit to the pot, I imagine, so it has to be shared around between the parishes to
I'm just,
certain
I'm
extent,
just
I would have thought.
wondering, considering the recent events on the roads around Watton, whether or not we can chuck in a Sam sign. It does deter, we've got 1 and we've got 4 entrances and exits. And we've had a terrible accident on the Brandon Road this weekend, where a car coming in at speed from Cranswick landed in somebody's front garden, knocking the wall down, and all the bricks from the wall went on their front door. It was a drunk driver and they legged it. Police were involved, but it was at incredibly high speed. I know those SAM signs they do deter a little bit. And until we can get maybe a highways up here and get maybe a camera or something down there, which is going to take time, or the speed limit changed or whatever, that's going to take a lot of time. The SAM sign, for how much it's going to cost, we can move them around. If we've got 2, then because it's only 28 days, I understand, isn't it? It can be in situ. And then we can just rotate where they go and for how much they cost, if we could bung that in with the shopping list.
Just let Claire. Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. Right, thanks, Claire. Peter, hang on. Oh, wait, okay, yep, Tina.
May I suggest then that is the trod the dearer one? May I suggest we go for the trod then, if it's going to be the dearer one, because that would be the bigger bulk of money, or yeah, it's only 50%, but then at least we're getting that done. And then the other ones, we can either put them on the agenda. I mean, I'd like to put the SAM one sign and maybe even the lights on a future agenda for us to decide whether we want to buy those ourselves as safety measures for the town. But yeah, my feeling is to go for the trod because it'll obviously be a bit more of a bulk of money coming from them.
Okay, yes, Beryl.
Yes, my thoughts are the trod, because the solar lights in the bus shelters, we don't get many buses at night. I know from 4 o'clock it's dark, but in the summer we get very few buses late at night when there would be people waiting for them, and again early in the morning. I just think we're better using the trod at the moment and have lights next year.
Okay, well, if we put it to the vote and see how many people want that trod, and then as Claire's explained, it's got to be an either or at this stage. So if those in favour of the trod, think didn't we discuss that before and say that we were going for the. Sorry, yes, James?
When the councils say scheme, is there a way of sort of banding two things together to come under one scheme? No, because scheme for me sounds quite general. It doesn't say like one item, it's a scheme.
No, the key thing is that they have to go to highways and highways have to work out the prices before they can then come back and say, yeah, that would work. So we've gone down these two routes, and I thought we decided on the concrete type one last time. I can't remember.
I'm sure that there was a decision actually made on
Right.
which surface, so if we can just clarify that tonight as well. The difference is bead and gravel at 14,200 or crushed concrete finish at 9,000. This council would be paying half towards either.
Nothing. Yeah, dirt track.
Whatever one, you can get a wheelchair or pushchair on better, and you wouldn't.
That's okay.
You would get a wheelchair down to the end of the island. Park the wheelchair around. Not a something down the street. That moves out. Yeah. Not sure. We go down to the back.
Claire, did you have something to add that might help?
That's the case, but I think I might have missed a meeting. That's when it came up.
So well, for the avoidance of doubt, what I suggest to do is we'll do a vote on whether it's going to be at the Trod, and then we'll do a vote as whether it's going to be which service, and then we know we've covered it so that Jane and everybody are clear. Does that make sense? Okay, so those want to go with the Trod. What was six? Okay, and those that want to go with the bead and gravel surface. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay, does that make it clearer for your records? Seems we weren't 100% sure. Yes.
Greg, your indulgence. One thing. If at some future date we're going to look for another SAM sign, I don't have any objection to it. I think what we ought to be clear about is because it can be linked to the computer and you can get all the details of it, perhaps a councillor who might have an interest in it should, if we get down to that route, take that bit of a job on, because a few years ago when we first had it, I did look at the computer printouts, which the office very kindly printed out for me, because I was able to go to the police and say, what are you doing about speeding on, say, Thetford Road? Why is somebody doing 95 miles an hour down there at 2 o'clock in the morning? They said to me, oh, it'll be the fire engine. And as I pointed out, the fire engine couldn't get up to 95 miles an hour till it probably got as far as Thetford, and it'll get up to that speed if it was going downhill. So there's a lot of information you can get out of that, because it will tell you every car that's gone past in a bracket of what speed it's been doing. So all I'm saying is, when we get to that bit, it would be helpful if we do it, I've got no objection to that, that somebody had an interest in it, took that bit on and used those statistics to help the town and to be able to say to the police and to highways, we need something there, because there's the evidence for it.
And it does fit in with the decision we made to have lead councillors on things, so that I can't see a problem with it. Yes, Tina?
Was happy, and if Claire's all right with it, I'll liaise with Claire, because Claire's highway, so she'll be able to find out a bit about that side of things. And she's a big advocate on speeding, so I'll bend her ear on that. And I've got an email here from Austin actually showing a Sam sign that, and I'll get some information if council's happy with that,
Bring
me
that
to do
to
that and bring it back with also prices on how much they're going to cost, because I'm sure you don't get them in Tesco's.
Yep.
Good, she got, okay, so we're halfway there.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so we go on to 11, which is planning, to consult on planning applications received since the last meeting. 11.1, 3PL 2021-1411 HOU, proposed single-story flat roof rear extension and proposed single garage, 44 Deerham Road. Anyone got any comments? 11.2, 3PL 2021-1411 HOU, proposed single-story flat roof rear extension and proposed single garage, 44 Deerham Road amendment, change the garage roof from pitch to hipped, roof light to front elevation. Any comments? Hipped, I think it's one of those ones that goes like a bit like a Dutch barn type one. I think that's hipped. Yeah. No comments? Thank you. 11.3, 3PL 2021-1432 HOU, new roof to create first floor accommodation including dormer and Velux windows, rear flat roof extension replacing existing and new garage and store, 11 Monkham's Drive. Anybody got any comments? That's it. Only got, is that it? I thought I'd turn over and find more, there's nothing. So that's it.